All right, so I didn't have something particular to speak about. There's a book called Promises for Your Everyday Life. It's a daily devotional by Joyce Meyer. The scripture that I have opened up to is, "For in him we live and move and have our being." It's Acts 17 and 28. And what she connected that to was real love, the energy of life. So the greatest commandment of all is to love. God is love, but we will supplement that feeling or that relationship that we should be bearing with God, the connection of love, by reaching out to other people to create that temporary feeling. You get it in the beginning, just like in the beginning of a romantic relationship. Everything is all perfect, your stomach's all bubbly, it's that puppy love kind of thing, or that excited, everybody's on their best behavior, so it feels so good. And then you're left wondering what happened to that. It's feeling unfulfilled. um, you may have a relationship, a platonic relationship with someone, and they seem to be comforting you and understanding where you're coming from, and you feel more safe, you feel loved in that environment, and then all of a sudden it's gone. Um, we often get very disappointed counting on these things. The Bible does tell us if you depend on man, you'll always be disappointed. So the only thing that we should look for is to look for God. And if God is love, the greatest commandment of all is to love, then every relationship should be built or centered upon the principles of God in His being. I think that the energy of life truly is love, because God fuels us all. His unconditional, unprecedented, "I love you because of, not in spite of," is not something that, as a human being, one to another, that we easily give. Um, even the even parents have trouble um, giving their children unconditional love. And I'm not saying that they don't love their children. I'm just that saying that sometimes we may hold on to something they do or something they say because of disappointment a little bit longer, and not have them in the same um, position that they would always be in. So the epitome of love is God. He's the center of all things. It keeps life moving, and we should concentrate on making sure that our relationships that are in this world are centered upon His love. So if you love someone without regard, if you love someone unconditionally, it's not about what they give you or do for you. So when they stop doing or whatever it is that called you to them, you won't feel disappointed. You won't feel unfulfilled, because you're giving an unconditional love. Hopefully, you'll be able to find 2 to 3 people in this world that can give that to you as well. The closest thing is children and parents. It should be the same for a spouse, a husband and a wife, but it would seem that we've gotten so much in the flesh that we make the commitment of marriage and that covenant of God between God and man very lightly, and we don't pursue it properly. We don't see our spouse the same way. We don't have that unconditional love, that forgiveness. For in Him we live and move and have our being. Everything is connected to God. Everything is connected to the love that He has for us, and the love that we should continue to explore and give. If you don't, how can you love God unconditionally, love Him in spite of the way that He loves us? By applying His principles to your life, by applying His principles to every avenue of your life. And this does not mean that you have to be a martyr. This does not mean that you have to be miserable, broke, lonely, bored, any of that. That is a religious point of view. That is a cultural point of view. That's why I say that we're not concentrating on religion. We're concentrating on relationship with God. You hear this all the time, mostly in a joking manner, that even Jesus drank wine. But it's true. He did. He broke bread with his companions, not in a relationship wise, but his friends. He broke bread with them, or associates. He shared and expressed his thoughts. He never hid his belief in his Father. He never hid where he stood on the things, but he was still able to sit and break bread with those people and share the love of his Father. And that's what we should be doing. You will stop having so much disappointment. You'll stop having so much heartbreak if you stop looking to get from those relationships what you can only get from God. If you concentrate on a relationship with God and you get that fulfillment, you'll learn how to share it to a certain degree, and you'll learn how not to put all those expectations on another human being who is as flawed as you, because they'll never reach those expectations, just like you never will, because they are not God and we are not perfect. And you will never be fulfilled with a relationship with a person like that anyway. Um, Kind of at a loss for words. I guess I don't really have anything to say with my big mouth. Well, I hope you guys continue to get your own personal, intimate relationship with God. I hope you start to learn to accept the love He has for you, because He loves you and believes in you even if you don't believe in Him. He loves you even if you don't love Him. We need to learn to accept people's flaws for what they are and not expect for them to do what can only come from our Father. Um, People say, oh, how can you trust somebody? I don't. I trust them to be exactly who they are. I trust in God that no matter what is done to me, no matter what situation I put myself in, or no matter what happens, that I will be okay. I don't have to trust him. I don't have to trust her. I don't have to trust that person. I trust them to be exactly who they are, and to be a flawed individual who's not perfect, who may at times do things that they don't expect to do. I trust in God that He will make sure that whatever I'm doing, whatever I'm interacting with, that He will make it okay. If He needs to change my direction, He'll do whatever He needs to do to change my direction. If He needs to terminate my relationship with that person and I can't see it, He'll terminate my relationship with that person. If He has to put me down on my knees, exhausted, aching, tired, before I'll stop being hard headed, that's what God will do. That's why I trust. I trust God. I don't trust you. I don't trust the person next to me. I don't worry about trusting my husband, um, my children. I trust everyone to be a human being as I am a human being, to be exactly who they are, to be flawed creatures and to make mistakes like we all do. I just pray that they learn from them and that they develop from them and they have growth. And I put us all in God's hands. That's all you can do. And His love will covereth an abundance of sin. Remember that. And He loves you in spite of, not because of. He loves you just like you are. He says, come to me as you are. That's not in clothing. That's in your spiritual, mental, physical being. Flaws and all. Just go to your Father. He'll embrace you. And you'll learn the love that you need to have. Thank you for joining me at Journey of the Word Ministries, home of every name known to God, where all are welcome, regardless of your belief. And we nurture the relationship over religion. I hope you guys have a blessed upcoming weekend, and thank you for joining me.